Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, sampler review series videos I've been doing for a little while now. Go over there, try out food and drink items. Eat stuff, I drink stuff, then, folks, I'm gonna talk about stuff. I'm gonna let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff that time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not gonna lie, this one is kind of a duo with the product I just reviewed. So we'll get to that. It's gonna be a thing. But anyway, folks, it's super simple format. I'm gonna go over there. I'm gonna try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm yammering on about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm actually in my back room today, which means that we get Peter Can Thunderbolt poster. Yeah. Say what you want about my reviews. I've got to be the only reviewer out there with a Peter Can Thunderbolt poster behind it. I'm just saying. But aside from Peter Can Thunderbolt poster, what else am I doing, folks? Well, I'm wearing super cool shirt. And folks, when I wear super cool shirts, I always like to highlight the super cool shirt. What super cool shirt am I wearing for you today, folks? Well, it happens to be my boom, my Mudvayne Psychotherapy Sessions tour shirt. Yay! I love a good tour shirt, man. If you're unfamiliar with the band Mudvayne, they've been around since at least they've been around since the 90s. I started out in Peoria, Illinois, my home state. They kind of came up in sort of the early 2000s, I think is kind of more when they hit, maybe late 90s. Came out, of course, they had the big song Dig, that was kind of their big thing. And they had a pretty decent run for a while. Ultimately, they kind of called it for quite a few years, and it really honestly never looked like they were going to get back together, but in 2022, they finally started doing stuff again. I've been fortunate enough, I got to see them perform live a couple times. Last year was this tour. I enjoyed it so much. I got videos of said performances on said tour. They're on said channel, just in case maybe you want to check them out. I think I think Mushroom Head is really badass. Yeah, I think Mudvayne's pretty badass. They need to tour together. But anyway, what am I trying for you today, folks? What are we doing here? Why is it a duo product? Well, folks, I just got through reviewing some instant noodles that are a Walmart exclusive that are supposed to be breakfast flavored. It's a little bit oddball. But it came out in 2023, and in 2024, I believe, they came out with another one. And I hadn't been able to find either of them up until very recently. So what am I reviewing for you today, folks? What happens to be, boom, it's from Cup Noodles, Everything Bagel Instant Noodles. Because that line of words had to exist congruently in a sentence to describe an item in reality, apparently. But yes, it is from Cup Noodles. It is with cream cheese, artificially flavored ramen noodles in sauce. There we go. Now, folks, I have reviewed quite a few ramen things, like instant noodle stuff, over the years. So much so, I have an entire playlist called Ramen Reviews. This review is going to end up on there. The breakfast ramen is going to end up on there. You get the gist. Now, I followed the instructions, went over there, poured in the water to the line, put it in for 4 minutes, let it sit for a minute. Now, the only thing was with this, because it does have like a cream cheese, I'm guessing it's a cream cheese, it has like a powder on top of it. It was actually really hard to get the level on this one, because you would pour it in, and because that cheese powder is on top, that would just kind of absorb most of the water. So I had to pour some, let it sit, pour some, let it sit. Probably took a couple minutes to actually get it to where it was sitting where it was, I believe, supposed to be sitting. So if that's user error, I'm not calling that one because I did what I could with it. But let's mix it all up in there and see what a fucking everything bagel cup of noodles is supposed to taste like. Alright. And let's get a thing for the thing so that everybody can see that this exists for real. Ha 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 ha. Let's give it a go. Damn, that's hot. Should have let it sit for a little bit longer. Okay. I get what they're going for with this. There's also little flecks of sesame seed in there. So, you get kind of an interesting added texture. You don't usually get with your instant noodles. Yeah, so here's the thing. For me, the first hit was less sour cream like that you'd have on a bagel and more sour cream that you would have on sour cream and onion chips. That really was kind of what it was, like what my immediate thought process was. Um, it is definitely, in my opinion, somewhat reminiscent of that flavor, which, considering how I'm sure this was put together, is probably closer to what it is than actually being sour cream on a real bagel. But it's an approximation, folks. We're not gonna we're gonna I mean, like the sour cream sauce or whatever the hell it is, it gives a little extra creaminess to the noodles. In both instances with this and the breakfast, I do think that the additions of the flavoring have elevated the noodles overall from kind of the more standard cup noodles. I think it's kind of given them a little something extra. Uh, I don't know how much I'm into this one though. I'm not actively disliking it, but like whereas the other one, with the breakfast one, it really hit kind of for me because it was like a mix of sweet and savory. I thought it was really good. With this, I don't know. I get what they're going for with it, but it's just I don't know that it works really well in noodle format. I don't think it transfers or translates the way I would personally like it to. Yeah, it's just I get what they're going for with it. It's got a little bit of a sourness, again, kind of a sour cream aspect to it. It's pretty prominent, but it's not like overly pungent. I'll give them that. I think they could have really gone overboard with it. But I think the problem for me is it just, it just tastes somewhat reconstituted. Certain things I think work really well, but this is something where, you think delicious cream cheese, it's a wonderful, almost fresh tasting thing. It's like it's wonderful little add on. With this, it's got a somewhat similar flavor, but it's really devoid of the overall experience. And I don't know that it really works. I don't dislike it, but I don't know that I particularly like it either. Now, all that said, two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? Oh, maybe out of morbid curiosity and sure as a novelty thing. I think for me personally, I'll give them credit. I do think that what they're doing with it is ambitious to say the least, and I don't think they entirely failed in what they were trying to achieve, but I think this is one where they flew a bit too close to the sun on wings made of wax. Because it just, with the breakfast one, that could have and perhaps should have been awful, but I think they managed to nail it, and I think they let their hubris get just kind of ahead of them on this. Because it's just, I don't know, man. It has, I get what they did with it. I don't think they entirely failed. I just don't know that that works in this format. Like I said, I think that the cream cheese aspect really kind of loses a lot in that transition and the whole reconstituting thing. It's an interesting flavor, but I don't know that it's one that I would personally return to outside of like maybe on a rare occasion. If I'm recommending it to other people, this is one where the breakfast one I personally thought was really good, and it was something that I would recommend to pretty much anybody who kind of enjoys this stuff. It's a little novelty, but like it worked. This is really more of a novelty. I I'm not gonna say I couldn't see some people really enjoying it, but I think for me, like I'm pretty forgiving, especially when it comes to like instant noodle stuff, because I eat a fair amount of this stuff. Uh, it's interesting to have, as an option, but I don't know, man. I just, like I said, I don't think that it really works the way that maybe it could, or not even the way that it could. I just don't know that it works in that format. I don't know that they could really improve this and have it work because it's just so structurally different from what it's emulating. So, 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your folks. Go over there, have yourselves a truly just get yourself a bagel-tastic rest of your life. Even I'm fucking not lazy enough that I'll just get a bagel toasted and put some fucking cream cheese on it. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity into the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do it all the time, I know I can't do it all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit sometimes, folks. And when we find ourselves in situations where we have to deal with said bullshit, it's important that we go over there whenever possible. Take a step back, try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives, hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, maybe there's like some weird ass flavor of ramen that you personally enjoy. If that's the case, I'd genuinely like to hear about it. I try to keep my ear to the ground for this stuff, but obviously there's only so much I can do. And, when I think about stuff like this where, like I said, it's a Walmart exclusive and everything, and it's like, okay, it's a little bit of fun, it's a niche thing. But then you think about the fact that, like obviously over in Asia, ramen and instant noodles are like an even bigger deal over there. So I'm sure there's all kinds of crazy stuff that I just haven't had access to yet. So if you have any ramen recommendations, I would genuinely like to hear about it. Please hit me up in the comments. I'll see what I can do.